Four bodies, three minds, the operator's manual. Creating harmony and balance for effective results. I'm sure the concept of this power of seven, the conscious, unconscious, higher conscious, physical, mental, emotional and spiritual, is in some way understood and accepted by most people who have studied some form of advanced personal development. Now, please note, if it's not something you accept and are already familiar with, then please stop watching this video, as this training will not be for you. For everyone else, you will already no doubt know that your conscious physical behaviour is very much driven by your unconscious mental and emotional beliefs. All that you have manifested, the life that you are living, is completely created by you. You are the central nucleus from which the meaning of everything around you is derived. If where you're at today is significantly better than where you were at a couple of years ago, then continue watching, because so much more is possible for you. First, let's talk about the physical. Let's say the average person functions in the physical to 40 or 50%, now this I believe is being a bit generous, of what's possible for them. They maybe eat too much of the wrong things, they drink a bit too much on a consistent basis. Maybe they smoke a few cigarettes a day or per week, and they regularly do little or no real exercise that stretches or taxes their full physical capacity. Now, I think this is a bit odd. When you think about how our language has evolved in such a way as to make everything a person invests in emotionally seem physical. You'll be regularly making nothing into something, languaging it as being tangibly real, and then using that language to convince others of just how incredibly real it is. Now, this would suggest the physical is incredibly important. This would suggest the physical is everything. If you can't touch it, rub it, squeeze it and hold it, then it simply can't be real. So how come when people believe so much in the physical being all that is real, they end up taking such little care of their own physical well-being? Let's talk about the mental. Now, let's say this same average person is functioning to 20 or 30% capacity in the mental. They left school at 16 and have studied very little of any consequence thereafter. Now, they may work in a career that does call on logic and conscious mental horsepower, but they've been doing it for the past 20 years and are so familiar with it that, to be honest, most of it requires little or no thinking whatsoever. They pretty much through repetition are operating at a plug-and-play level for their average everyday engagement. Now again, this seems so strange because the past 2019 years has all been about rules, the rule book, then more recently logic, science and conscious-minded functioning. People are desperate to believe that they have a sense of intellectual control, whilst doing very little to tap into the vast storehouse of wisdom held for them at the unconscious level, where they really would begin to gain that level of control. Now let's look at the emotional. The same average everyday person will probably be lucky if they're functioning at 10 to 20% capacity in the emotional. They're probably experiencing a seemingly endless roller coaster of emotions every day. Inappropriate emotions, feeling angry and frustrated, there's no parking spaces, or somebody ate the last biscuit and left the empty packet. All too often they may feel inappropriately sad, as their life seems unfairly and severely limited by circumstances that they claim are beyond their control, possibly triggering for them a sense of desperation, fear and anxiety. Now finally, the spiritual. Now, I have little evidence for this, but I reckon the average person living in society today has little if any spiritual awareness or capability at all. Let's say 1% to 5% of what's possible. Now, spirituality has become a bit of a buzz. It's become very fashionable since the initial pop culture revival in the 60s. I believe our society has access to an abundance of pseudo-spiritual practices, people using spirituality as a form of escape. Rather than facing up to and resolving their stuff, they will escape for a short while into their chosen, possibly lovely, but ultimately ineffective bliss, before returning to being stuck in the same real-world challenges that created the need for a sense of escape in the first place. You can only ascend back to spirit when you have truly completed the full descent into the material, and use the experiences you gather to evolve your mental and emotional capabilities to ensure you're controlling them and they no longer control you. What's possible? Now, it is my belief that because you have invested so much time and effort in developing yourself physically, mentally and emotionally, it stands to reason that all of your percentages are going to be higher than the ones I've mentioned thus far. But it still will be nowhere near where it could be after developing your spiritual awareness with our personal evolution training system. What will it be like for you if you were able to truly access 100% of all 7 of these resources? Not having them all be a seventh of who you are, but you being in command of the full 700%, able to access and utilize all of it. In any given situation, you could instantly trigger the perfect formula of optimum functioning to ensure the very best results every time. This is truly what being spiritually developed is all about. Creating for yourself a higher state of consciousness that will make you capable of not only transcending the physical, but actively engaging with the fabric of your reality in such a way as to influence and control it. This is the Personal Evolution Training System. The program. This program in total is a 3-day event, with an additional 3 hours one-to-one personal coaching time allocated to each individual after the event to ensure your spiritual practices will include everything that you need to work on in the correct time frame and sequence. And as with all Life Training Systems trainings, there will also be a lifetime's access to your trainers to ensure all of your questions are answered and you always get the very best advice to ensure you optimize your results. Day 1 is allocated as a preparation day, which will be held at Gorse Hill Hotel 3 weeks before the 2-day retreat. Now, this will be an intensive day with mental and emotional exercises designed specifically to ensure that you have very much dealt with any and all of your stuff prior to opening up spiritual and higher conscious channels within you. Please note there will also be 3 weeks worth of homework to complete prior to attending the retreat. The retreat itself starts on the Friday afternoon with a welcome and introduction scheduled to start at 4 p.m. and a full meet and greet, group drinks and dinner starting at 6:30 p.m. Day 1 on the Saturday will begin at 8:30 a.m. in the morning for breakfast, with a full day of training, exercises and meditations starting around 9:30 a.m. and running till approximately 6 p.m. Saturday's group dinner will be from around 7 p.m. onwards. Day 2 starts again with breakfast at 8:30 and training, exercises and meditations will again begin at 9:30 a.m. and go through the day till our mid-afternoon finish, by which time you'll have your scheduled coaching calls booked and your foundational path for the next 12 months of spiritual and meditation practices clearly defined and in place. This is an all-inclusive spiritual meditation retreat package with all meals and accommodation included in the investment that you are making in your spiritual development. There are only 9 places available, as there are only 9 rooms at the venue, where we will have the entire place to ourselves. We will look to open up a maximum of 5 additional spots only for people who are either a couple or very good friends that are willing to share a room. The Personal Evolution Training System Spiritual Meditation Retreat is £1,597 all-inclusive, or £1,297 per person for those who opt to share a room. The venue is listed in a copy of this content below this video. Scroll down to see. Once numbers are confirmed in principle, we will release dates for this event, which is scheduled for mid to late April. To express an interest in this advanced training, you will have to apply by either clicking the box Apply Now below this video and filling in your details with the best contact number, or by either sending an email to colin@spiritualmeditationretreat.com or by calling the office on 0800 910 1163. This training is by invitation only, and you will have to be willing to go through an informal interview process to ensure that it's the right time for you, as well as it being the right vehicle for your personal evolution going forward. Apply today and find out if this is the next step in your evolutionary journey. Click the Apply Now button below this video and fill in your details. Now, as promised, if you scroll to the bottom of this page, you will find a Download Now button. If you fill in your details there, we will email you a link to get your free audio meditation, The Journey Begins. Enjoy, and we look forward to speaking to you and offering you an invite to this groundbreaking spiritual training.